Ajay Bhutoria, you're an Indian American community leader. You've been involved with financing with the Democratic Party. What explains President Obama's remarks, former President Obama? Were they off the cuff? Or is this typical of Mr. Obama when it comes to issues of religious freedom and minorities? He's been expressing his views rather candidly over the years.
Rajdeep, let me answer your question in two parts and let me finish the first part. It's time to celebrate the very successful visit of Prime Minister Modi and President Biden state visit. The state visit between Prime Minister Biden and Prime Minister Modi marked a significant milestone, strengthening the bilateral relationship between India and US to much newer heights. This visit emphasized the importance of people-to-people relationship, connections and enhancing defense, economic and trade ties, as well as fostering collaboration in education, manufacturing, and so on, countering China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region and shared commitment to stability and security. There's so much has happened between last 3 days. I was able to witness during the state lunch, during the address in the Congress and in the arrival ceremony and so much more. So this is a historic visit, and we both the countries need to celebrate, people of both the countries need to celebrate the success as two democracies emerging into a global leaders. Now, US, the largest, oldest democracy, India, the largest democracies, but none of the democracies are perfect. They are evolving and they are growing, and there are, in both the democracies, there are opportunities for growth and for opportunities of fixing internal issues. Now, coming to Obama's viewpoint, there are certain times when you are in media, Rajdeep, when the questions are posed by journalists and the people interviewing answers the question in a certain way, that the outcome of the answers are put in a different context altogether. So I think that the foundation for historic India-US relationship was laid down during the presidency of President Obama.
The fact is, let's be clear, Mr. Obama did not mince his words. I don't think we can say that the journalists have misinterpreted with what he said. He was very clear in his remarks that he made. If President Biden meets with Prime Minister Modi, the protection of Muslim minority in a majority Hindu India is something worth mentioning. He was very direct. He didn't beat around the bush. What we are trying to understand is how should we respond to it? KC Singh, how should we, in your view, KC Singh, do you believe that one view would be, as you said earlier, that we could have, Amitabh Mattu says this could have been done through private conversation. You don't need to publicly sort of send out these messages, particularly if you're friends, you're building a friendship. Where do you see this coming from? Do you see this coming from a growing concern in some quarters that of the United States as well, that while we are reaching out to India, we are going to express our concerns from time to time? Or is America trapped in lecturing countries with these moral sermons every now and then?
No, I think President Biden, by the very fact that he did not raise it, is generally accepted that US has come to the conclusion that we should not raise this issue publicly because the strategic relationship and the economic relationship is so important. Therefore, these should be discussed privately. President Obama is no longer the president. He expressed his opinion, but let me give you an example. When the march on the Capitol took place in 2020, President Trump was there. Almost every European leader publicly criticized it. Even our Prime Minister issued a statement saying he is distressed over the violence. Now, Trump, if he had been re-elected or, if he has to come back again, he can say, why did they criticize me at that point? He's still defending what happened at that time. So democracies, if they are democracies, and that's what the joint statement says, then you also have to have a degree of tolerance. And I think we had ignored it and simply had the spokesman of the Ministry of External Affairs say prime ministers had a say on it, and this India has its position, the constitution, rule of law, etc., and left it there. It'll be forgotten by today. We'll not be debating it. But and then the defense is very poor. To say that Obama bombed these Muslim countries, Obama was not bombing because he is a bigot. He was bombing as a US president because it was in pursuance of terrorists and militants and the 9/11, and this started with 9/11. It didn't start with Obama. And in fact, under Obama's charge, they lost an ambassador in Libya because he was late in taking action. He was reluctant to use force. unlike President Bush. And therefore, you can't just simply go after him and paint him as some kind of a megalomaniac and a brutal dictator who was bombing countries. So defense has to be measured. Coming from a ministerial level, it can't be something like this because it will be seen in America. Actually, what you're showing by doing that, you're confirming the very charge that you're intolerant, that you're not willing to listen to any criticism, right or wrong. Criticism can be right, it can be wrong, but there's a way of answering it and not attacking personally. Don't attack the messenger. Answer the criticism.